What's going on, everybody? I just want to get on here and bring everybody back to now. Appreciate y'all being here and vibing with me for a bit. Yeah, today I want to talk a little bit about like recognizing patterns that like might start to present themselves as you're just kind of vibing in the moment, as you're just doing your day to day. You know, that a lot of times these things start to pop up, these patterns, these loops. And a lot of times they're things that you don't necessarily like, or they piss you off. They're just annoying, and it's like, why does this keep happening? And so like looking at all these things that happen as not being a coincidence. You can manifest in all sorts of ways. Sometimes in relationships, sometimes in your job, sometimes it's really anything. Sexual things. Just these patterns. Really anything that can kind of present itself over and over again. Some people are strong in certain areas, other times, not so much. And that's where when you're looking at kind of evolving yourself and really trying to just live your best life and be the best you that is there. You want to kind of shed these limiting things. And so looking at these patterns that start to emerge and going within to try to see where you can figure out what the hang up is. Where a lot of times it's just like a limiting belief or a story we've told ourselves over and over again and believe it's real. A lot of times, from programming and childhood. It's so funny really looking back at things. You put your parents on a pedestal or something, and it's like so often, just in my own experience of like adults with kids that I've been like friends with, it's like, wow, you're a knucklehead and like you're putting this shit on your kids. and that's obviously a judgment thing, which probably shouldn't do, but because I'm guilty of doing these things too, and we're all on some level doing it. But as we get older, it becomes more of a thing. It's like, do I want to keep repeating the same shit over and over and over again? If I don't have to, and you necessarily don't ever have to, you can always choose to let it go. And so, one of the things that's been popping off in like my own personal kind of life is just like, kind of describe it as like, what is this Star Trek thing? With the not, I keep thinking Vulcans, but that's not it. It's like Cleons, or Cleons, how you say it. It's like I see a lot of that kind of mentality in my external reality, just being mirrored through people and relationships, all these kinds of things. There's like, diet, where it's like, oh, to be healthy, you need to start eating like roots and just like, shit that tastes bad, and it's like, oh, this is healthy for you. It's like, I feel like a freaking Cleon, eating like blood stew, and it's like, oh, this is good. I feel like I'm just like on Fear Factor. It's like, I don't care what science says. It's like, just really letting go of a lot of these, assumptions about it, all of these things, including diet and everything else. But just recognizing this pattern over and over again of like, this is a real Cleon mentality of like, oh, I got to make things hard. I got to just grind through it. I got to wrestle shit to the ground and make it, and really looking like inwardly of like, okay, well, it's obviously starting to reveal a lot of like maybe like not feeling worthy or just like not good enough mentality, which is something I've struggled with. And, through this process, letting a lot of that stuff go more so each day. This is a process. And so, really looking at, like, I'm not broken, so it's like I don't really need fixed. It's just like with playing like the guitar, it's just something you start to do, starting to master something. You just start to realize, it just is an unending possibilities, which is crazy, especially with like a musical instrument. When you really start to get into like music theory, you really like, there's like 7 notes in a key, and it's amazing what you can do with just 7 notes. Really, when you stop and think about it, and these different tempos and stuff. And it's like, even with guitar, playing it for so long, it's like I'll still like come across people that are like blow me away. It's like, what the how do you even think to do that? Because it's like so many different styles blending and merging into some new kind of flow, and it's like kind of unique to that person how they're able to do that. And there was a time, when I was like really kind of in like the 3D Matrix type of mentality, where it's like you see people like that, and it's like, oh, maybe you get jealous, and you get these like kind of like who they think they are, and oh, maybe maybe they were in cahoots with some sort of evil, and that's why they got this big break. And all these types of these stories we tell ourselves. I mean, you can have the exact same experience if you want to. Big part of like really this new life and just exploring reality and consciousness and everything is really just kind of just figuring out what you want. It's like I know what I don't want. I want to not just be unconsciously just creating fear cycles and just basically living a nightmare over and over and over again and just suffering. That's what I don't want, and that's what I was doing. What a lot of people do. Just make unconscious patterns that just just basically create hell for yourself and just suffer through the now unendingly. It's like you run into people a week later, it's like, oh, it's still the same shit, and it's like, it used to bother me, and it doesn't really bother me so much anymore. I probably spent like maybe 4 years or so, where it's like just wanting to shake people and like, oh, you need to see things the way I do, and like making these like kind of reactive moves. It's like really letting a lot of that shit go too. It's just like it doesn't even matter to me anymore what people think or do, or it just is really irrelevant, because it's like once you know that what's on the inside starts to reflect out, it changes by changing your mind about things. And it's like, you maybe get some resistance that manifests as like a person or situation or any of these types of things. When you really take control of like everything in your reality that's happening to you as something that's being not a coincidence or an accident that it happened, but that it is there for some reason. Part of that is kind of understanding where that came from. A lot of work, just from my experience, a lot of that has come from just unconscious fears that just start to get pushed out, and basically then experiencing that, and then it just creates more fear. It's like this cycle of just like, well, see, I'm right. There's all every reason in the world to be afraid, because look at all this bad shit that keeps happening. When it's the thoughts that are creating it, the thoughts that are telling you, well, this is helpful to be worried. It's helpful to spend most of the day in your mind maybe arguing with somebody, or just like worst case scenario planning. There's so many of these things, and it's like, and then it tries like to justify its own existence by creating then the hell that you're trying to avoid. And then it's like, well, it wouldn't have happened if this mental process. It's like that's the problem. And so once you realize that and then let go of it, and then you start to realize that so much of this is programming that you're just recreating over and over and over again in the moment. And it's like, what I'm seeing so much of this like like warrior type of like mentality, like a Cleon, for the Star Trekkies out there, and for people that don't watch it, it's just like this, like, ooh, this like, oh, I'm gonna just make life hard on myself, because in the struggle, there's something worthwhile in that. And that it's kind of ridiculous when you really stop and think about it. When I used to skateboard, I still have a big place in my heart for like people that skateboard and stuff. And like, part of that though is so much of a mental game. I see like, people that I used to watch when I was like a pretty young teenager, it's still doing now, and like their 40s and their 50s, and it's like, wow, okay. And like with that though, it's like thinking of all the times I like fell really hard, and like so many times, especially trying something new or something dangerous, or what the mind kind of reasons as dangerous. So much of it is like you like puss out, you like chicken out at the last minute and kick the board away or something. And what starts to happen in skateboarding is like you start to hurt yourself over and over and over again. And then in the mind, you realize, well, I'm hurting myself because I'm not just committing to it. I'm not just going for it. I'm pussing out. I'm chickening out. It's fear. Oh, I might hurt myself. But then that fear of like hurting yourself is getting you not to commit to it, which is hurting you. It's funny. Things are pretty ironic when you take a far enough perspective back. But it's like the same types of things, where it's like so many times if you just go for it and go full throttle and not really worry about the consequences, at failing, and even looking at like failing as like no big fucking deal. Who cares? It's like I come across that sometimes too, or like people will voice maybe their aspirations or something to me. Just I don't know why. People act so strange around me at times. I don't understand that, but like people will tell me things. Maybe it's because like being like self-employed or something. I don't really know. It's getting really hard for me to relate to people anymore. In a lot of different ways. But people will tell me things, and it's just like, just go for it. Why you have so many excuses that are preventing you from just going for it. It's like, what's the worst that could happen? You fail. Who fucking hasn't failed? It's like I've failed more times than most people try. It's like part of like just learning anything, and it's like with the guitar, like mastering anything. It's like really that you define what that means. What does that mean? It's like, what do you want? What is this carrot out here that you think's gonna make you happy? Which anymore is like just adding levels of complexity and just like all of these responsibilities and shit. It's like, is that what you really want? It's like, I get that at times where it's just like, God, I feel like every day I'm just doing all of this shit, and it's like I don't really feel a big like reward from it. It's just like I just feel like I just got a lot of obligations, and with that, I think that's showing a lot of like programming again. When you start seeing these patterns, and this wasn't always like that. I mean, this is just like a recent thing. If you would tune into like a earlier video or something, this wasn't even on the radar. But it's like, as you start to become more present and still, and just trying to vibe and just life and just enjoy yourself and not be stuck in these stories of your mind and just all the horse shit that just is unendingly seeming to just want your attention. It's just like you just get to this different space. It's just like, I just want to just be happy. I just almost want to just be left alone a lot of time. And like with that, you start seeing these different patterns that start to pop up that prevent you from just enjoying the now, enjoying your day, enjoying this moment right here and now. And that's the stuff I'd look at to let go of, because I want to continue just to stay in this zone. It's like, when you play like an instrument, for me, it's like the easiest way to explain it. It's like you get into this like kind of flow state where it's like you almost don't even realize you're the one playing. You're just in the zone, or where it's just like you're just like almost like just one with it, and it's like I try to live in that zone just because it's awesome space to be in. And yeah, I recommend that for everybody. It's way better than being tormented, and it's like you get to this like kind of zone though where you just, I don't know, you're not in your mind, you're not thinking about things, and it's just like you finally are able to just be at peace and just feel happy and just ride that energy. And even though it might be fleeting, it's like there's all these different states of consciousness that you can kind of vibe in. And the trick of it really is just not getting reactive to past programmed thinking and thinking that, oh, you're some victim. That's a big thing I get, victim mentality. And then also, there's like the stories we tell ourselves of like, oh, we don't deserve good things because, oh, maybe you have to sell your soul to the devil to get good things. These kind of things, these thoughts, these fucked up, things that don't make really any sense with a far enough perspective. And you're like, why? Who told me that? Why do I believe that? Why do I think things are the way they are? I've been watching a lot of this show with my wife. Is it 90 Day Fiance? Where like people from different cultures are like trying to come to the United States. And it's so fun. Americans are funny. It's like I guess I don't realize it as like part of like being an American. On some level, I do, because I feel like I've come from a different planet. But like just this idea that all these foreign people just want to come here. It's like, do they? I don't know. It's like I look around, a lot of times, and it's just people just working 24/7, and it's like, no, you need two incomes, and both you got to be working 80 hours a week just to survive. And it's like, fucking scarcity is that? You know, it's like you go in some parts of the country anymore, it's just like total fucking lockdown situation. It's like, who the fuck wants to keep living like that? You know, it's, I don't live like that, you know, and it's just like, you know, a big part of it is just not watching TV and being programmed by us, all this. Oh, do you hear what the pipeline? You know, this, I got people, you know, that talk, you know, that talk to me about, oh, did you see about the pipeline? And they're, what fucking what are you talking about? You know, it's like, I don't care about politics. You know, it makes no difference to me. You know, it's all part of the illusion. You know, and it's like, until people really get that, you know, it's like I'm having a hard time even, you know, talking to people, because it's just, I just feel like I'm talking to shadows. And shadows just parroting things that are nonsense. And it's like, here's an idea. How about, instead of worrying about something that's totally out of your control, that you have no business even talking about, because you have no fucking clue what that even is, you know, and then you feel smart because you memorized what the CNN anchor or the Fox News anchor said. It's like, come on, you know, it's just, snap out of it. Because here's the deal, it's like, you can do anything you want. You know, God gave you the ability to do it and the means to make it happen. You know, so it's like, you know, handing over that freedom, you know, basically, to all of a sudden, like, oh, I'm just going to continue to live by whatever talking point is next, instead of enjoying your life and being the one that makes a change and does something differently. I mean, it's just, it's like, you know, I hear that with like environmental people, and this might be me getting on a tangent, but it's like, I hear that with environmental people. It's like, oh, climate change, how can you climate change? It's like, what do you want me as I've recycled, dude. You know, I reuse shit. I refurbish shit. So it's like, what are you doing? You know, it's like, do something yourself. You know, plant a fucking tree. You know, when's the last time you did that? You know, do you have a yard that you can plant some trees in? Do you feed the animals? What do? You know, and it's just like, oh, you just bitch and do nothing and expect others to do it for you. Which may be not like a bad mindset, you know, if you're manifesting these things consciously. But, but if you're unconsciously just, you're in scarcity fear mode. Oh, the environment, you know, I'm worried and concerned because of whatever. You're just living in fear. Worst case scenario, I just seen something today, you know, and it just reminded me of an argument that I had at a family gathering, you know, about I'd seen this show, and it was about Arctica or whatever, the North Pole. This is not even about the Mandela effect, where there is no like Antarctica anymore. You know, that's a whole different thing. But like you know, it was you know, with these polar bears, and like I had been like brainwashed, you know, basically, like just like everybody else, of like all the starving polar bears, and you know, you see like a polar bear on some like little chunk of ice just out in the middle of the ocean, and it's like, you feel bad for it. You see its ribs and shit, and just like, yeah. But I watched this show, and come to find out they can swim like vast distances, and it's just like, what? You know, they can swim, and like I end up bringing that up at like a family thing. It totally triggered my one of my family members, and it was just like, what the fuck, you know. And then I see this thing today, you know, saying the polar bear population's like stabilized, and it's just like, you know, one more thing the experts, you know, are wrong about. You know, it's just like, it's unbelievable at times, you know, how backwards the so-called experts are, you know, when it comes to their fear predictions of the future that never happen, you know. But like but you know, the other part of it is like, things work quantumly, and it's all a reflection, and you know, none of that really matters. It's all part of the illusion anyway. But you know, you start to get frustrated, but you start seeing these patterns over and over and over again, and instead of sitting there judging them like I'm kind of doing right now, you know, just like looking, it's like, why do I keep seeing these things that are that are just upside down? What is that about? You know, why do I keep seeing these things that logically make no sense, but then I'm the asshole if I point it out? You know, it's like, and then you just get to a point of like, okay, well, I guess we just play pretend anyway. Everybody's playing pretend. You know, hopefully most people are playing pretend nicely and not in some self-induced hell. But, you know, if they are, you know, anymore, it's like, well, Well, whatever. Do you whatever you like to do then if you enjoy that, which I can guarantee you don't. But like because we're all one, I don't like it, and so it makes sense. If we're all connected, and none of us would. But like but like the thing of it is, you start catching these patterns over and over and over again because they just keep reemerging. It's the shit that ruins your day. It's just things that pop up. And instead of letting that, maybe like a 5 second incident, maybe someone that said something very triggering or just like, okay, whatever, prick. You just want to snap back. I get in that pattern. I think that's part of like the Cleon mentality that I'm kind of like facing and dealing with, kind of letting that go of like, that's not who I really want to be. I'd like to be more, I don't know, more, experiencing good things, and not feeling guilty about, I got in an argument with my wife about like something really retarded or stupid. It's just like, she was like cold, and I told her, just why don't you just take a shower, and just warm up. And it's like, well, and that triggered an argument. It's like, why do you think we're so poor that you can't just take a shower? And that's part of like some of the shit. She's going. Everybody's dealing with their own shit, but like and it's the same kind of continuation of this Cleon pattern. Versus like, no, I'll sit here and suffer instead, and because then the suffering, I'll get strength. It's like, okay, that's because that's worked so well in the past. Yeah, it's part of that mindset, in my opinion. But if I mean, it is what it is. But like, I think I'm gonna kind of bounce here. I just wanted to kind of just get on here. It's been a while. It feels like since I've done a stream. I've been doing a lot more just like guitar related things and just uploading those, mainly because I just kind of want to put out like a positive energy, and I might do some I got a bunch of these let me see. I got like, this is unopened. I got 2 of these packs. And like I put those other strings on like a month and a half ago. I might like change those over, but like I really like the sound of those Elixir strings, and so I just kind of just felt like just jamming some covers, basically, kind of to introduce maybe some songs I like personally, just to others that maybe forgotten about those songs or never heard them before. And if you guys trying to get the levels right on the mix, because like part of the thing, it starts to I don't know, maybe be a thing for me is like some of the songs I really like, I don't want to really step on the vocals. So it's like, well, am I just like playing it to not loud enough in the mix for people, or like I just want to make it enjoyable for like the listener. And so it's hard for me to even gauge anymore how people that just like aren't mixing hundreds of tracks, and how they hear music is different than the way I hear it. So it's like just want to make sure it's on the same page, so if you you can vibe off that energy and kind of just chill out, forget about the world for a while, and can kind of continuing with that flow. I might maybe do some original stuff too. I don't even know. I don't really have a game plan anymore for things. It's part of the mindset of like, oh, well, what do you want? It's like you start to realize, it's like, well, I've pretty much, I don't know anymore. So I've done it, done what I kind of wanted to do with it. Now I just kind of am in a different zone where I just want to just put out, positive energy, and it's like, I don't know. I'm just kind of just doing what feels good at the moment, and that kind of feels fun, just to jam on tracks, kind of like songs I like and stuff like that, and it's kind of, I try to do it in just one take, just kind of intentionally, just because it's so easy to make it perfect. It's like I could do it in 2 or 3 and it would just be flawless, and it's just like, that's not, you almost like I don't. For some reason, that bothers me because it's like everything in like modern music, like the drums are like quantized, which means they're perfectly on time. The vocals are auto tuned just so it's perfectly on pitch, and everything can just be flawless. In like like production. I mean, you can make it sound like that, but there's something about like that though that doesn't feel real. And like and so that's why I'm kind of doing it that way. And maybe somebody could be like, oh, it's a kind of lazy. Yes, like, whatever. But at the other end of it, they used to record kind of like that, like in the the tape era. Just it wasn't so easy to like chop samples, and so you almost can vibe in that if you're playing like a cover or something from like an older recording. You can almost feel that energy. Like I did like a Janis Joplin cover, versus something a little newer where it's like you can start telling where the digital's really starting to gear up, because things are. And even back in the day it was pretty time wise, being on time, but now it's like real metronome, click click click, because it's so easy to cut a section out and move shit around. Just that little smudge here, we'll cut that out and just put something new there, or re-record it, or whatever. And so that's why I'm doing it like that. And so other than that, I appreciate you guys liking, sharing, subscribing. I appreciate your attention this long, and hopefully I've been a good steward of it. And I appreciate your support, spiritually and physically. I like to wrap these things up with like a quote unquote random Bible verse. Nothing's random. God's 100% in control of literally everything and speaks to us in the moment. I just want to give God a chance to speak to you. Who's ever listening now? Let's see what God's got to say. Colossians 4:6. Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that ye may know how ye ought to answer every man. There you go. And with that being said, oops. I appreciate you guys being here and all that. And so probably continuing on. It's kind of, I don't know. Just I guess I'm just rambling, but like I'm just gonna bounce. So thanks everybody for listening, and have a good rest of your day, and God bless.